Hey, Mama, sit down because today I'm going to say something that might make some of you uncomfortable, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you have spent even one single second feeling like you have to prove that you love your grandchildren, this episode is for you. If you've ever found yourself keeping score against another grandparent, don't turn this off. We're going to talk about it. And if someone has ever made you feel like your presence was a performance review, I refuse to let you carry that for one more day because grandparenting is supposed to be one of the sweetest seasons of your life. And somewhere along the way, for some of us, it got turned into a competition we never signed up for. Welcome back to Mama, Sit Down, the podcast where moms of adult children reclaim their lives one boundary at a time. I'm Roxanne Hughes, and friend, today we're going somewhere a little bit different. We're not just talking about our adult kids today. We're talking about what happens when they have kids. We're talking about grandparenting. And more specifically, we're talking about the pressure, the guilt, the comparison, and what the Bible actually says about who you're trying to please. But first, I want to read you something. I came across a post on Facebook recently, and it stopped me in my tracks. A woman wrote about how, as her child got older, the family support just faded away. She said only Nana and Pop still show up to watch the games. She said she would never miss a game, and she talked about telling her kids the truth about who shows up and who doesn't. And now, I want to be clear. I'm not here to criticize that mama. I'm thinking maybe there's some healing needed, that there's a pain there, that she's needing that affirmation. I get it. I really do. But I want to talk to the grandparents who might read something like that and feel the weight of it. The ones who feel like attendance is the new love language. The ones who are quietly terrified that if they miss a game, miss a birthday, or just need a day to rest, they'll be the ones talked about at the kitchen table. This one is for you. Here's the first thing I want to say, and I want to say it gently. As your children got older, so do their grandparents. We don't talk about that enough. Grandparents may be managing their own health. They may have limited energy. Many of them have multiple grandchildren across multiple families with multiple schedules. Some of them are still working. Some are caregivers for their own aging parents. Being present does not always mean being at every single game or event, whatever the case may be. And absence does not always mean a lack of love. I want you to hear that. Showing up at a ball game is wonderful. I love it. It is a gift when you can do it, but it is not the receipt that proves love was paid. Now, let me say something that took me a long time to really believe. There is absolutely no way to prove you love someone. I tried for years, friend. You cannot attend enough events. You cannot buy enough gifts. You cannot babysit enough weekends or say yes enough times or drive through enough carpool routes to make someone feel loved if they have decided the evidence is never quite enough. Love is not a courtroom. You do not owe emotional evidence exhibits A through Z. And the moment you start believing that you do, you have walked right into a trap. What is that trap? It is manipulation by guilt. Let's just name it for what it is. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the narrative gets created, sounds like this. They don't show up like I do. Only we care. I'll never miss a game. And that narrative, even when it comes from a real place of hurt, can unintentionally create competition, scorekeeping, division, and it places enormous pressure on the children caught in the middle. So I want to speak directly to any grandparent who has felt this. If you're being subtly guilted into proving your love through performance, I need you to hear me. Guilt-based love is not healthy love. And competing grandparents do not create security for children. They create tension. Kids should never feel like a prize in a grown-up rivalry. They should never have to manage loyalty between the people who are supposed to love them the most. Let me just say it plainly. Grandparenting is not the Olympics. There are no gold medals for most games attended, no podium for most money spent, no trophy for most Instagram posts featuring your grandchild. You do not get a podium at Thanksgiving. And I say this as someone who absolutely would have tried to earn one. If there was a ribbon for over-involved Woman of the Year, I would have to have a trophy case. I would have shown up with snacks, folding chairs, backup snacks, emotional support snacks, and probably a color-coded spreadsheet. But here's what I learned the hard way. Performing love is exhausting, and it does not produce peace. It produces more pressure. There is no scoreboard hanging in the sky, no record being kept of who attended 42 games versus 17. No eternal tally that determines whose love was real. I want to read you something Paul wrote in Galatians 1:10. I'm going to use the King James Version here. It says, "For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet pleased men, I should not be the servant of Christ." Now let's slow that down. Paul is asking a very uncomfortable question. Am I trying to win the approval of people? Or am I living for the approval of God? Because he says something strong here. If I'm still trying to please people, I cannot be fully serving Christ. Now, let's bring that into our world for a minute. Grandparenting can quietly turn into a performance. Not because you're bad, not because you're selfish, but because there is pressure. Pressure to show up to everything, pressure to prove your love, pressure to not be the less involved grandparent. Nobody wants to be that, right? Pressure to compete with the other side of the family. And sometimes, if we're really honest, we are not showing up from joy. We're showing up from fear. Fear of what people will think, fear of being talked about, fear of being compared. My pastor, Andrew Hott, said just yesterday, comparison is killer. It will just kill you. And Paul's question cuts right through that. Who am I trying to please? Because here's the truth. You cannot serve peace and approval at the same time. If you're exhausting yourself trying to manage other people's perceptions of your love, you are not walking in freedom. And freedom is exactly what Christ offers. Serving Christ does not mean performing for people. It means living steady. It means loving without competing. It means saying yes when you can and no when you need to without shame. If your yes is driven by fear, that is not devotion. That's pressure. Christ never leads with pressure. So maybe the question for this season is not, am I doing enough? Maybe the question is, who is driving my decisions right now? God or approval. So, what do we need to do instead? Because I know some of you right now are like, Roxanne, that is all well and good, but there is family drama happening and I'm right in the middle of it. Here's what I want to offer you. Healthy grandparenting includes limits. It includes energy management. It includes peace. It includes saying no sometimes. You're allowed to rest. You are allowed to have a life outside of the grandchildren's schedule. You're allowed to divide your time. You're allowed to not perform for love. God did not call you to compete for affection. He called you to love freely, not frantically. And here's something that is counterintuitive, but deeply true. The grandparent who shows up with peace, with joy, with presence, that is not laced with resentment or exhaustion, that grandparent leaves a mark that no amount of scorekeeping can erase. Love that is steady and free is more powerful than love that is loud and desperate. Real love doesn't need a spotlight. Real love is not defensive and it's not fragile. It does not collapse every time someone does not acknowledge the sacrifice. So let me give you a few things to walk away with today. Number one, love without comparison. Your relationship with your grandchildren is yours. It does not have to be measured against anyone else's relationship. You tend your own garden. Number two, show up when you can and release what you cannot. You are one person. Do what you can with the energy and health and time God has given you, and then release the guilt over the rest. Number three, refuse to be manipulated by guilt. This one is harder, but if you feel like love is being used as leverage, like attendance is a test that you're constantly failing, that is worth naming. You can love your family deeply and still refuse to operate from a place of fear. And I no longer participate in tests that I'm unaware of. Number four, model emotional maturity. This one is a gift to your grandchildren that they will carry for the rest of their lives. When they watch you navigate pressure with grace instead of retaliation, they learn something. They learn something school cannot teach. And number five, speak calmly if you need to. You do not have to silently absorb the pressure. You can say with warmth, without defensiveness, I love these kids with everything in my heart, but my love is not on trial. Grandparenting is not about proving. It is about presence, and presence is bigger than a schedule. You do not have to compete for love, and you do not have to perform for approval. Walk faithfully, love freely, and rest in the role that God gave you. Because, Mama, it's your time now. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. If this episode hit close to home, share it with another grandparent who might be quietly carrying this pressure. They need to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Mama Sit Down wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review if the show has meant something to you. It truly helps more women find this community. And next week, we're going to keep this conversation going. Until then, breathe, rest, and remember, it's your time now.